In this week's episode, we talk to the legendary Dan Henry. Dan is a multi-millionaire entrepreneur, best-selling author, and online marketing expert. He joined us on the show to share how he went from a pizza delivery boy to selling online products, one of which made him $1 million on one webinar.
He talks about risks, how we can all create this level of success, and why he hates excuses. But please be warned, if you're easily offended by straight talk and quite a lot of swearing, you might want to give this episode a miss. Dan really doesn't mince his words and takes no prisoners. So if you're up for some tough love, do go ahead and take a listen.
Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Midlife Mentors with me, James.
And me, Claire. How are you all doing? We've been busy bees, haven't we? We've been getting ready to go back to London.
I tell you what, it only feels like days ago since we recorded the last one.
I know. It kind of was a few days ago, actually, because we were a bit late getting it out. But yeah, we've been packing bits and pieces up to come.
Ready to return to London.
Back from
I'm not
Ibiza.
loving the thought because apparently the weather there is terrible.
Shockingly shit.
And we've got 20 degrees and sunshine.
Yeah, we have. But we've been busy bees. But we are very, very excited to have literally one of the most awesome guests ever. We've been following Dan for ages and ages and seeing his unbelievable, oh my God, rise to what he does now. And James reached out and managed to get him on the show.
I know, I'm so thrilled. Before we introduce that, for those of you that don't know, Dan Henry has a really inspiring story. And the reason we wanted to get him on was I know a lot of our listeners kind of feel a bit stuck career-wise at this point in life, and they kind of want to pivot and they want to try something new, but sometimes that fear can really hold them back. And I wanted to bring Dan on because he's got such an inspiring story. I don't think he'll mind me sharing this. You know, he went from sort of delivering pizzas to becoming a multi-millionaire. He's done like $1 million in one go from a stage, like in one sales presentation. He's sold like tens of millions of dollars of programs, hundreds of millions of dollars.
And he's a best-selling author.
Anyway, I'll let Dan speak. I'm sure he can introduce himself so much better. Dan, welcome.
Thank you for being here.
Hey, how's it going? I'm super excited to be here. I'm almost in your age group audience bracket. I'm 36, so I'm almost there. Okay.
Nearly there, yeah.
Nearly there. This one turned 50 last year in December. So 50.
Just.
Yeah.
Just. Awesome. Well, you look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Bless you.
So Dan, just like, if you don't mind, just share your story, because it is like a truly inspiring story, you know, almost like one of those Hollywood stories. Like you were delivering pizza and now you're a multimillionaire, you've got a huge following, you're a best-selling author, you're a speaker traveling the world, you have like the Legacy University, training people how to run their own online businesses. You have your sales business. You've got so much going on. Just tell us a little bit about your journey and how you kind of got started and got there.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of like a Hollywood story. Sometimes I don't even believe it. So I delivered pizza for 7 years, which is a long time. Generally, you're only supposed to do that for a few months while you look for a real job. The reason I did it was because I did not have a good upbringing. I got bullied a lot in school. I wasn't one of the cool kids, and I got homeschooled for my entire high school because I just couldn't handle school. Florida can be a rough place back in the 90s. So I delivered pizza because I was able to sit in my car and be alone and not have to deal with anybody for the most part. And I sat in that safety net. But I was working 40 to 50 hours a week to make maybe $400 to $500 a week. And I had no money left over at the end of each month. And over the course of, a decade, I got different jobs. I got out of that. I got into sales. And, you know, I just started to try to work my way up, become an entrepreneur. I had a little bit, at one point I was a carny. I would travel with the carnival and sell cotton candy. Like my life was a mess. And then I started a restaurant, a bar and restaurant. I saved up a bunch of money, started a bar and restaurant, did really well with it because I learned how to do social media marketing for the bar. And I did real good. I sold it for a huge profit. But unfortunately, I wasn't a very good business person. And a few years later, I got a letter in the mail from the IRS, which in America is the grim reaper of taxes. And I owed $250,000, $250,000. And I did not have anywhere near that much money. And so I frantically, like many people listening, started Googling how to make a lot of money fast, you know, and I kept coming back to the same thing: digital products, things like online courses and such, coaching programs, you know. And the reason why people were making so much with this was because it's a product that once you create it, I mean, what's an online course? It's a series of videos that you record and you host online. There's really no expense to it. You know, if you sell food, you got the expense. If you sell liquor, you got the expense of the liquor. If you sell services, you have the expense of time and employees. But with a digital product, once you create it, the only expense you have is getting customers. That's it. And so it's an insanely profitable business. And so I started thinking about it, and I remember reading an article where they said, like, listen, if you know how to solve somebody's problem, if you have a problem that people have and you know how to solve it, you can create an online course, you can solve that problem, and you can make a lot of money. I was like, well, I know how to get business for like bars and restaurants. So I created a course on social media marketing for bars and restaurants and for local business. And I made $48,000 my very first day promoting it, which was insane.
That's nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a video. There's actually a video on my Facebook. If you care to go far enough back, it's me at my bar that I used to own. I just happened to be there, and I'm freaking out on camera. And I'm like, I just made it, you know, and it's still online. That month I did 100 grand. Within 5 months I did $1 million. Since then I've done, like, I don't know, 33 million just for my own products. That doesn't count any other launches or involvement with other companies. That's just my personal online courses.
Dan, how long ago was that? Do you mind just telling us how long ago that was?
That was 6 years ago, I think.
That's been fast.
I know, it's fast, right? It's fast. Yeah, people sit there and say, like, oh, you're a veteran, you're a legend in the industry. I'm like, man, that was like 5 years ago. What are you talking about? Like, that just happened. So then, you know, I did all this and I made about $10 million with that initial program, like how to run Facebook ads, because it was a skill I learned. Then I switched gears. Because look, when you make $10 million with online courses, you know a thing about online courses. And the problem with most people that sell like how to create digital products, they make like 50 grand. And then they're like, oh, I'm an expert. Like, no, you don't know shit. Okay. You made 50 grand, big whoop, you know? And I'm not saying you can't teach that, but you should teach one part of it. And I'll kind of go into that in a minute. But I started teaching it as a whole encompassing system after I made about 10 million, because I knew the system. I knew how to go from I don't have a product to I'm making a lot of money with a digital product as fast as possible. And so I created that program. And that program cost $10,000. I charged 10 grand for it. We sold 1,200 people in it. We made about 15 million because there was some upsells. And just from that one program. And then, you know, after several years, I decided to retire. And so I shut all my programs down and I focused on building my new company, closedeals.com, which I needed to focus. I'm trying to get it to $100 million valuation. Well, I did this funny thing. Last Black Friday, which was only a few weeks ago, like a month or two ago, I just was like, you know what? I was like, what would happen if I took all my programs, my $10,000 programs, and I was like, I offered them for a small monthly fee, you know, and like I just threw it up, and we had over 1,000 people join. We did $133,000 in 7 days. That's monthly recurring revenue. And then I shut it down. And it just amazes me continuously how profitable digital products are. And I had sold that program to everybody, like everybody bought it, you know.
Yeah.
And then 1,000 people bought the membership. Now that program has produced over 100 millionaires, hundreds of six-figure people that have six-figure digital products. Obviously my book, Digital Millionaire Secrets, has helped a lot of people. And here's the thing, a lot of those people are over the age of 40. They're 40, they're 50, they're 60 years old. So if you're thinking like, oh, I can't create a digital product, I'm too old. In reality, that is actually the opposite of true, because here's the thing. If you are 40 to 60 years old, you know some shit. You've been on this rock long enough to know how to solve a few problems. If you are over 40 and you don't know anything, then you're fucked anyway. Okay? Like you got problems, all right? But if you know how to solve a problem, and it doesn't even have to be a big problem, okay? Like for instance, there's these guys called the jump rope guys. They teach how to lose weight by jumping rope. They've made millions from that, millions. There was a guy that made $1 million from teaching people how to use Excel, Microsoft Excel. Like, here's the deal. If people don't know shit and you know shit, you can charge to teach them that shit, period. Don't think about it any deeper than that.
I think
the online education industry is a $350 billion industry and growing. There's plenty of money to be made selling air, as I said.
Massive opportunity.
I know, and I think I'm really glad you said that, Dan, because you were talking about the numbers and we were talking about how your exponential growth. But I know that there will be so many people sitting there going, "Well, that's not for me. That's just like this guy called Dan Henry who's done really well," or these other people. How would I be able to do that? But what would you say? I'd love to know what you would say to those people that are listening to that before you just said, look, listen, guys, it doesn't even have to be a big thing. Anyone can do it. But what would you say?
Well, that's why you're 40 and still fucking poor, because you think like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I'm just going to call it like it is. I call it minion versus millionaire. Okay. You're either a minion or you're a millionaire. All right. If you're a minion, you're slaving away, getting somebody else rich. You have all these bad thoughts. I can't do it. That guy did it because he's special. Or you think like a millionaire, which means, how can I do it? How can I make, fuck, that guy did it. He looks like a fucking skinny Drew Carey. Fuck him. I want to do it too. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like that is how a millionaire thinks. Now, here's an example. Think of yourself 5 years from now and think of yourself super successful, millionaire, right? How does that person act? How does that person think? How does that person talk to themselves? Probably a lot different than you talk to yourself now. And so all you really have to do is start acting and thinking like that future version of yourself, and you'll start getting the things that person has. It's think, act, get. If you think like a millionaire, you'll start acting like a millionaire. And if you act like a millionaire, you'll start getting the things millionaires have. Okay, we are not called human havings. We are human beings. You want a nice house. You want to have a nice house. You want to have a nice car. But the truth is, you're not going to have it. You have to become the person that deserves it. And if you're sitting there saying, "Oh, this guy's special," because, dude, I wasn't special. I grew up in fucking Florida. I know you guys are in the UK, but do you know anything about Florida? We are made fun of as being the dumbest people in America. And that you're talking about America, which has arguably the dumbest people in the world. And then within America, the dumbest state. Okay. We literally have this thing called Florida man. Like, we wrestle alligators and get our arms bit off. We're fucking stupid. I'm from Florida. Okay. I'm the dumbest state and I became a millionaire. So don't tell me that I'm special. I'm a college dropout from fucking Florida. Okay. If I can do it, you can do it. Otherwise, you're just being a bitch. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, all right. Period.
Yeah.
All right.
I absolutely love that, Dan.
It's
I love
honestly,
that.
Dan,
I mean, that's just
so
the
on the
truth.
same page.
Yeah, we talk about this with our clients all the time. Like, we have a saying, you cannot outperform your self-identity, It's like Henry Ford said back in the day, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. So
You're right.
It starts with that belief change, So that's why people fall off the health wagon, they fall off their diets, but they fall off, making a success of themselves because they just somehow don't work on those beliefs to change it.
Yeah.
But when you can do exactly what you're doing there, start thinking and acting in that way. And it's not faking it till you make it. It's actually stepping into the being of that person, right? Then things start to change around you and you start to believe it. And then the success comes in small steps, which validates it, so you believe it more.
Well, there's another thing there, right? People think, oh, I've got to be the overnight success, or oh, boom, it's just going to happen all like, you know, you'd been working your backside off. It didn't start when you started your first digital product. It had started when you were working your ass off as a pizza boy, getting the money together for the restaurant. It was, years and years.
Yeah. And you know, it's funny. There's a funny story. I learned this from my father. He was the slowest driver because he worked at Pizza Hut with me. And he was the slowest driver because he drove like an old man, because he is an old man. And he made the most money of any driver. And here's how he did it. Every time he went to a delivery, he would have a little book, and he would talk to he would talk to the person that ordered the pizza. And they would just chat. They, oh, you know, my son's in surgery right now, and you know, I'm just ordering pizza. I don't want to cook. I'm feeling bad about it. So he'd go back to his car and he'd write down, son is in surgery, da 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 da. Right. The next time he got that delivery, he'd be like, hey, how's your son? How does his surgery go? Right? How'd that go? And so he would do that, and over time, he would build rapport with these people and get them to tip more than they ever have, and he made the most money. And so the truth is that it doesn't matter where you are in life. You do some things like you do everything. If you work your ass off to be good at something, that will carry over. And if you are a hard worker now, you'll be a hard worker when you're an entrepreneur. And if you're a hard worker when you're an entrepreneur, you're going to make a hell of a lot more money, because you're going to be making yourself rich rather than somebody else.
Yeah, I love that. Good old dad. Bless him. Good old dad. But yeah, I mean, like we always say about obstacle opportunity thinking, and like so many people focus on all the obstacles, right? I can't do it because of this, I can't do it, all these massive excuses, especially I have to say, especially around the health stuff that we do, because obviously we're health coaches as well. So it's like, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money, you know, it's I'm going on holiday, I need to buy this. I'm just like, oh,
you know, I used to be fat.
Well, yeah.
Well, you've got your own story about transforming your physique as well, right?
Yeah.
So maybe
you know, it's funny. I was fat, and then I had this amazing discovery. I stopped fucking eating so much, and I went to the gym, and then I wasn't fat anymore. Fucking crazy, right? Like, I mean, who would have thought?
Yeah, I know. And also there's so much overcomplication of it, and I'm just like, it does frustrate us, but we get it. But they're all just, if you're sitting on your backside watching Netflix every single night, you've got time to go and move your backside. You've got
time to go and work on that business, on that side hustle that becomes a main hustle. If
you're shoving McDonald's down your throat all the time, that's why you're not getting any results.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's all in you. It's all down to you. The problem is you, and it can only be solved by you.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is within your grasp. The answers are there. It's the willpower that you're lacking, not the answers. Everybody's looking for the answers, not the willpower.
Yes, true. Everyone wants the easy, quick win without doing the work necessarily first.
Yeah, and we always talk about discipline a lot, don't we?
Discipline is a superpower.
Discipline is a superpower. Doing the things you don't want to do because you know it's going to get you the result. Like, that's over and over and over again. Doing the thing that you hate doing it over and over and over until you get the result.
Absolutely. 100%.
Dan, I want to come back to the belief thing just for a moment. So when did you start? When you were starting out, when did you actually start believing yourself that you could do this? Yeah. Was it when you did that first, the 48K thing that came through, or was it before that? You just thought, you know what, I've got this.
I mean, wait, look. Here's the thing. Here's when I really started to believe it. So, and this is a little exercise that I teach people. I call it the curious expert. Okay, and it revolves around one simple concept. I call it the 1% rule. If a certain amount of people are interested in what you have to say for free, a percentage of those people will be willing to pay for that same information in greater detail. And so that's why we do things like webinars, where we do an hour webinar, we teach something about what we know, and then at the end we say, hey, give me money and I'll teach you way more. Buy my premium program. Pretty simple, right? So there's a little exercise you can do, and you can do it right now as you're listening to this podcast. You can go on whatever your favorite social media app is, and you can simply say the following. You can say, hey, for those of you that don't know, over the past several years, I've been able to do blank. I've been able to lose weight while not doing cardio. I've been able to do my own taxes and save myself tons of money. I've been able to make a side hustle doing this thing. I've been able to successfully raise my kid and keep him out of drugs. And I've helped a few of my friends talk to you, whatever problem it is. I've been able to master Microsoft Excel and it's increased my productivity 100%, whatever it is. I'm considering putting together a free training or a free book or a free video on how to do this. If you're interested, simply comment me. Now, here's what's going to happen. One of two things is going to happen. Either hardly anyone is going to comment, or a bunch of people are going to say me. Now, if a bunch of people say me, that means that means there's interest in hearing you out for free, because nothing's for free. If I hear your information, I'm giving you my time. It's not free. I'm giving you my time. It's not that much more of a stretch to ask for time and money. And so if a bunch of people, even not like 10, 5, whatever, say yes, that means there's a market out there for what you want to teach. And it also means a percentage of those people will pay you. Now, here's the funny thing. I have converted. Now I'm one of the better people in the world at this. So I'm more like 2.5%. But even early on when I wasn't so good, it was only 1%. I converted 1% of my audience. So if 100 people signed up to get a free ebook, to watch a free training, to get on my email list, only 1% of those people would buy from me. From that 1%, I was able to buy a $2 million residence for myself. I was able to buy a home for my mother, a home from my father. I was able to pay all of their bills, my father's bills, my mother's bills, my ex-wife's bills. I was able to also have several properties in Florida. I have 2. This is a penthouse condo I have in Costa Rica where I'm at right now. I have a $1 million house in the mountains in Dominical, Costa Rica. I have nice cars. I'm able to go on constant nice vacations. I'm able to fly private many times, all from 1% of my audience. And so if you have even a little interest in what you teach, it means that a percentage of those people will pay you for more information. And so if you're wondering, will anybody be interested in this? You can just do that little experiment. And of course, if you need help really narrowing down the offer, we can help you. But the point is that people are willing to pay for this more than you think.
And is that when
that's
you,
a great point to make, actually.
Is that when you got, so when we were saying about when you started getting belief in what you were doing, was that from that first kind of social media? You were like, I'm doing my restaurant social media. I'm going to put a product together, and just everyone was like, yeah, I want it. Yeah.
When I realized that, I went all in on it. That's why I made 48 grand in a day, because I just kept giving out free value. And then I said, hey guys, come to this live training. I got on Zoom. Well, actually back then it was like Google Hangouts.
The days before Zoom.
Yeah. And I taught a bunch of stuff, and I have a format. I have a very specific, and I teach this inside of Legacy University. They have a very specific training format. It's easy to follow, and it's based on buyer psychology. It allows you to teach stuff that you know, and then ask for a sale, and you'll get the sale. And I did that. At the time, I was rough with it. I've mastered it since then, but still, I had, I think a couple hundred people on the webinar and made 48 grand, sold $1,000 product, sold 48 of them. And I have little tricks that I do, right? Like I'll give you a little advanced trick. So if you have like a free Facebook group, and you do some sort of live presentation and you say, hey, you've bought this product. When you've bought it, go into the free group and post, hey, Dan, I bought your course, add me to the student group. What happens is when you're on the live webinar, the people that buy, they go into the free Facebook group and they say that, and then all the people in the free Facebook group and on the webinar are like, they're buying, oh my God, I need to buy. And
I
it just
saw you
massively,
do that.
Yeah.
So I saw
Yeah.
you.
Get the FOMO going.
So I saw you do that once, but I also saw you deliver like a little training on that inside your Facebook.
Yeah.
And you said that little trick really works. I was like, oh, we need to add that to
We
our
do
house
need to
when we
add
need.
that.
When
Oh,
we
I
do
got
a
a
webinar.
ton of those. A ton of those.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. Sorry, were you going to say?
I was going to ask Dan. People out there might think, right, okay, I've got this knowledge. I can do that. I can test it. A lot of things we hear about is then people like being nervous about what they should charge for it. How do you decide on your pricing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it depends on the problem, right? It depends on how valuable the problem is. So, and a lot of people undervalue what they know how to do. I've got people that have charged $300. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. So my personal trainer, I train with him every day when I'm in America. And he's like, man, how are you making all this money? Da, da, da. I said, listen, why don't you do this? I said, why don't you create a program called Skinny to Stacked, and you teach skinny guys how to gain muscle. You film the videos, you charge $300 for it, because he was like a total beginner. I said, you charge $300 for it, put together some Instagram reels. He's like a jacked, obviously jacked because I said, get some baby oil.
Okay. James, you need to do. We've got a photo shoot tomorrow. James needs to oil himself up.
And this is the funny part about it. I said, do these reels and show people how to work out, right? And then just at the end, say, DM me, what was the word? Stacked, and I'll tell you more about my premium program. So he starts to kind of dip his toe in, and he doesn't really make any money. And he's like, man, I'm struggling. I'm saying, well, like, how often are you posting? What are you doing? And he really wasn't doing what I told him to do. And I said, dude, take off your shirt. He said, should I really take off my shirt? I'm like, take off your fucking shirt, put some oil. I'm like, you ain't got titties. You're going to have to work with what you got. You're a man. Okay. You had to build all that shit from scratch. You didn't get born with that. So you need to oil that shit up, flex, and talk about, dude, just talk about how you make your protein shakes. Talk about how you do a bicep curl, all oiled up. So he does it. Yeah. So he does it. He starts getting millions of views on his reels. And the first week he did it, he made $6,000 off that $300 product.
See that, James, here we are.
I'm getting a baby.
Right, there's a 50-year-old good-looking guy with a cracking body. You just need to oil yourself up.
That's it. I'm oiling up.
That's how we need to do it.
Straight after this call, I'm oiling up, Dan.
Now, to give you the opposite end of that, I have another client who sells how to play gospel piano, charges $6,000 and sells them like hotcakes.
Wow.
So you can see, here's the thing about pricing. Pricing is bullshit. Pricing is whatever you want. Like, you make it up. It's not about what you charge. It's about what it costs them if they don't have what you have to offer. So for instance, right? The $6,000 piano course, the reason those people want to play gospel piano is because in the church, if you know how to play good piano, you have status. And, do you want to go the next 10, 20 years not having the status you want, not being as good of a player as you want, not being able to impress people, not being able to whatever. If, let's say you want to lose weight, how much is it like I'll give you a perfect example, right? Let's just say, I don't charge $10,000 for this program anymore. I charge basically, in my opinion, nothing for it. It's just a small monthly fee. But when I charge 10 grand, right? I say, listen, you're trying to find a business, right? You're trying to create this. Now, if you were to sell a product, if you were to sell this product and you were to be an average student and you were to make, say, I don't know, 500 grand over the next year, what do you make now? Oh, I make 50 grand. Okay. So what you're telling me is that the biggest expense you have right now is not knowing how to make more money, because you're paying life 450 grand because you don't know how to do this. Period. Okay. There's a guy, speaking of musicians, there's another guy, his name's Sam. And so I have his screen. I was actually putting together a sales pitch. I have the screenshot right here. I became a part of Legacy in September 2020. I quit my job in February of 2021. I just had a $50,000 month as a one-man team with no signs of slowing down. I'm not super active here, but I do owe it to Dan Henry. Thank you for turning this broke-ass music producer dream into a reality. And
Love
that's the thing, man. It's like, you know, it's more profitable to teach than to do. If you do guitar lessons, you can only take what, 3-4 people a day for a guitar lesson, but you can take hundreds per day if it's an online lesson. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we used to run retreats. So we ran fitness retreats from like 2012 in Ibiza, Marbella, and back. And there's only so many people that you can service on those retreats, and you can only do a certain amount in a year, right? Because of the season, but also because you're knackered, like doing retreat after retreat after retreat, all like fitness and health and look. So like actually 2020, we were already doing some of our online stuff in 2019, but 2020 when COVID hit, which don't get me started, but like when COVID hit, actually it was one of the best things that ever happened to us because it forced us. We couldn't run retreats because there was no travel, so it forced us.
Oh yeah. Oh, we
online.
tripled our business when COVID happened. The first 2 weeks we didn't make anything, and then our business tripled because everybody was at home, and people still, with all the remote culture, the online education industry, the online course industry was already growing, but it got completely skyrocketed since COVID. You know, but see, I lived in Florida, so we still had that thing called freedom. So that was the one positive thing of living in Florida.
You were watching from
I know. We were like, we need to get ourselves to Florida.
Your governor down there, DeSantis, isn't it? It was just
for like 2 weeks, we were like wearing masks and social distancing, and then everybody just went, nah, fuck it, and then we were fine. We had the same numbers everybody else had, so we moved on. Like,
no, we were watching from lockdown in London from afar, going, but we can't get over there now. We can't travel.
Oh, we were at bars drinking, and we had like better numbers than some of the lockdown states. So I mean, take that with what you will. But you know, I got COVID like 3 times. I was fine because I eat right and I go to the fucking gym, so I was fine. But
we had it a couple of times
as well, and actually didn't even realize we had it. This was this time last year. Didn't even realize we had it, and we kept going to the gym. We'll keep on going to the gym. Felt a bit rough.
Me too. Yeah,
a bit rough.
It can hit some people super hard, but so can the flu. You know, but I don't know, man. I'm a big believer in shit happens. So, you know, sometimes life just kicks you right square in the nuts.
Yeah.
But
we kept going, and then we tested
because we had to travel.
Because we had to travel. We wouldn't have tested otherwise, because we were like, well, if it is COVID, you know, whatever. So, and then we tested because we had to travel, and it came like literally straight away, and we were like, oh, we've been out and about.
I got stuck in. So here's a funny thing. I was staying at the Ritz-Carlton for $3,000 a night in Puerto Rico, Dorado Beach, Puerto Rico. I tested positive for COVID, and they kept me there for a month.
Oh,
yeah. And they were charging me $3,000 a night with no room service. Couldn't leave the room. So after a certain amount of time, I'll just be honest with you, I got pissed off. I called a cab and I left. And I just said, fuck you guys. I'm not like $30,000. No. So I just left. I got on a plane. I wore a mask and I got home. Cause like at that point, because Spirit Airlines, they weren't doing testing. And so I got a Spirit Airline.
Is that the airline? Tell me, Dan, is that the airline you said you used to get? I'm sure I saw on one of your Facebook posts that you used to get private jets and stuff, and then the Spirit Airline, you were like, actually, it's much better. What's the Spirit Airline?
What was it?
I can't remember. I'm sure you said you used to take private jets and things, but actually Spirit Airline was better than.
No, Spirit Airlines is the cheapest, worst airline.
It's like
we don't know. It's like the
but it will do in a pinch. It'll do in a pinch. That, to me, that was a rescue plane at that point.
Well, they're obviously making a lot of money out of you, charging like $3,000 a night.
But thankfully I had a business that could support that. Otherwise, can you imagine if you didn't? Not that you'd be at the Ritz-Carlton anyway, but even if it was a different, like, you imagine, like, that's the thing, man. It's so important to set your life up to create a legacy that will not only serve you, but serve your children. And look, I don't care if you're 40, I don't care if you're 50, I don't care. Dude, look at Jeff Bezos. He was like, what, 45 or something like that when he was balding and had a spray painted Amazon sign on his shitty office. And now he's the world's richest man. So you can't tell me, you can't tell me that you're not going to, it's going to be hard for you to create a digital product and make an extra, even if you only make an extra 10 grand a month, like,
How
which
would
is
that
nothing,
change?
by the way.
Yeah, like 10 grand a month. Like what would change in your life, even with just 10 grand a month? Like loads of stuff would change, even with an
Loads of
extra 10
stuff.
grand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
thank you
awesome
so
and
much.
inspiring. I know that our listeners will be like, okay, I want to know more about this stuff.
Yes.
So how can they get in touch with you or get in touch with your product?
Yeah, tell them a little bit about the product.
It's closed. No. Here's what I'll do. Because you guys have been so awesome, I will give you a special link just for your listeners. Because if you go to try to join Legacy University right now, it is closed. There's a waiting list. But I will give your audience a special link that'll allow them to get in. And it's getclients.com/midlife. Getclients.com/midlife. If they go to that link, they can see everything included. They can see everything that you get with the program, and you join. It's a small monthly fee and you get in. However, if you ever cancel, you're banished from it forever. And we will definitely make fun of you inside of the private group.
Dan, I mean, I know, hand on heart, I know that is an amazing, amazing offer. So thank you so much for extending that to our
we
listeners.
also know that it closed. So opening up again for our listeners is just awesome.
Yeah, I actually, do you remember I closed it? It was supposed to be a Black Friday offer. I opened it several days. I've opened it 7 days before Black Friday. I had to close it before Black Friday because it sold out.
I know.
Yeah, I only was doing 1,000 seats.
I kept seeing your graph you kept posting of the sales and the revenue coming in. It was just like incredible to see.
But the thing is, it's not just sales; it's recurring revenue. That's the awesome thing about it.
Yeah, we did 130 something grand, and that's every month. Like we get that every month. It was like a week ago. I woke up and I looked at my Pay Kickstart, which is like the software we use for memberships, and like there was like 90 extra grand, and I was like, oh, that's right. and then there was still, ones rolling in.
So actually, just I know you've kind of touched on how you help people, but just who is that legacy? Who would you say that legacy product is for? Like,
so if you are someone that wants to create a business that is what I call lean, meaning, look, businesses are not lean. Most businesses are fatty. You need licensing. You have to get an office. You have to buy product. You have to stock things. You have to whatever. It's a very fatty type of business. Digital product business is a lean type of business. It means it's low risk, low investment, low time, but again, you got to risk something, because that hard work doesn't make you rich. Risk makes you rich.
Love that.
Yeah. And so if you want to start a business, and look, I understand if you're 40 to 60 years old, you might have I have to use tech stuff. Techie stuff. Well, first of all, what would you rather do? Would you rather sit on your ass for the next 20 years rotting like some decrepit old man, or would you rather learn how to use a fucking computer and make $1 million? I mean, at the end of the day, look, if you're 40 to 60 years old, you've probably raised children. And if you've raised children, I have a child who's 4. I can tell you right now that is 100 times harder than learning how to use a fucking email software. So you're fine. You can do it. Okay. It's your anticipation that it's hard that's far worse than the actual thing.
Yeah.
However, because I know that people hate tech, and I, for one, sometimes hate tech, in our program, we have done as much as possible to do 90% of the tech work for you. So like let's say you download a funnel meaning it's a series of web pages that are designed to sell your product. It's all pre-made for you. You fill in the blanks. Email sequences, all pre-made for you. You fill in the blanks. You just plug in your offer. The biggest, honestly, the real hard part is deciding what you want to sell. But we have a very, very proven process to take you through that, to show you how to discover what your skills are, what problem you can solve, and how to articulate it to the market and get eyeballs on it so that you can make a lot of money from it. And so it's for anybody that wants to, from a computer, this thing I got right here, press some buttons, and make a digital product. You know, you record some videos. I mean, look, we can, you don't need fancy cameras. We can record this right here. My first course, I just recorded it with a webcam. Actually, no, I even did it with slides and I just screen recorded it. And you want to make a business, you want to build a legacy fast, lean, and with as minimal risk as possible, but you will risk something. You'll risk your time, a little bit of money, and your reputation. But here's the great part about it is, my first digital product sucked compared to how it is now. Everything is going to, in some degree, suck at first, and then it gets better and better. And we have a refinement process where we show you how to make your digital product better and better. There's just really no excuse. Look, if you have an internet connection and a phone in 2023 and you're poor, it's on fucking you, man. It is your fault. You're just not getting out there. You're not learning the shit you need to learn. It's all out there. You ain't got to strike gold. You ain't got to own farmland. You strike oil. You ain't going to strike oil. You literally get on social media, flap your jaws, and people give you money. And I can show you how to do that. So you ain't got no fucking excuse to be poor anymore. I don't give a shit how old you are.
Hey, I love that. Dan, amazing.
Straight down.
I know that's really going to resonate with our listeners as well.
It really is.
I know so many of them speak to us saying about, oh, think of trying this, think of trying that, but fear's holding me back. Listen, you've got like complete setup there with Dan's Legacy University. And all those courses, all that info.
I'm sitting here with a massive smile on my face, and I'm just like, this is the stuff that, you know, and I love you, Dan, because you're just like, tell it straight. Probably way more than we ever have done, but you know, you're our guest and you can say what you want.
Hey man, look, I learned a long time ago, because I used to be a real emotional kind of feelings person. And I realized a long time ago that if I take a cup of coffee and I set it down, I can be angry, I can be sad, I can feel insecure, I can feel confident, and that cup of coffee does not move. I can't will the coffee to move with my fucking feelings. Just like if I put up a sales page for a digital product, I can't will that sales page to convert or sell better or worse based on how I fucking feel. Okay. At the end of the day, it either works or it doesn't. And if you have the skills to make it work and you learn the skills, you will make a lot of money. And if not, you won't. And the reason why most people see, it's not hard to become a millionaire today. What's hard is to get out of your own way. And that's usually all those feelings and that doubt. Look, champions, they are not fearless. They just do it scared. And that's what you got to learn is I'm scared too. I'm certain a bunch of people listening to this right now are going to think I'm an asshole, think I'm a scammer, think I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't give a shit, because if I am afraid to say something, I'll end up saying nothing at all. And that's far worse.
Yes.
So.
I love it, Dan. You're just awesome.
Oh, wow.
Just awesome. And it's true, isn't it? Kind of that, you know, when the best antidote to fear is just take action. You know, like I shit myself all the time with putting stuff out there.
But you do it anyway. You do
all
it anyway.
The time. Yeah. You know, like
the problem is most people try to stop or avoid those feelings.
Yeah.
Successful people realize they're humans, and what they do is they just wave at the feelings and they do it anyway. Instead of focusing on getting rid of I feel scared. I feel over. How do I get over that? You don't. You just do this shit anyway.
You don't.
Okay? If you want, I can leave you with one tip for your audience.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you your final words of wisdom.
You've given us so much already, though. Like,
Come on,
this is incredible.
The Dan words of wisdom.
All right, so check this out. If you take your car to a mechanic and you want your mechanic to fix your engine, if that mechanic does not know how an engine works, he's not going to do a very good job of fixing your engine, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, when you are a human being, and especially when you try to be a successful human being, the engine is your mind. So if you don't know how your mind works, how are you going to use your engine to get where you want to be? Successful people know how their mind works. And here's how your mind works. Your mind is set up to keep you safe. Its number one priority is to keep you safe. That's why when you get near a ledge on a building, you automatically feel nervous. When you put your hand on a hot stove, you automatically retract it without even thinking. Your mind, through thousands of years of evolution, whatever you want to call it, food, shelter, water, it's programmed to keep you safe. It's its default programming. Now, in order to have reward, what must you first do?
Risk.
There is no reward without risk. This is a universal principle in life. If you want to make money off of stock, you got to buy the stock. If you want to lose weight in the gym, you got to take the time to go in the gym. If you like, no matter what reward it is, you got to risk something to some degree. Okay. No pain, no gain, no risk, no reward. Now, what is the opposite of safety? Risk. So if your mind is naturally designed to keep you safe, and safety is the opposite of risk, and in order to get success, you must risk, then your mind, by its natural default state, is programmed to keep you poor. It's programmed to keep you or to keep you safe, thus keep you unsuccessful, because you're not getting the one thing that you need to be successful, and that's risk. And it's perpetuated by society. In America, we had a guy named John D. Rockefeller. He founded and funded the General Board of Education. And he said, I am not in the business of creating a nation of thinkers. I'm in the business of creating a nation of workers. So when you go to school, everything you learn is how to be a worker, is how to make somebody else rich. So you're just programmed for this. That is why when you listen to a podcast like this, when you watch a training that's selling you something, when you look at a business opportunity, if it logically makes sense to you, now, if it doesn't logically make sense to you, then screw it, but if you do your due diligence, that's why I have a public Trello board with over 500 customer testimonials from my programs. I put it out publicly. You can just go look at it, right? Because I want people to do their due diligence. But if you do your due diligence and you say, this is right, this will make me money, this makes sense. But then you have this feeling in you, oh, what if it doesn't work? I don't have time. What if I lose the money? Oh, feel it. You know what that is? That is your mind taking over and do what it's designed to do. It's designed to keep you safe. So it introduces those feelings so that you don't take the next step, so you don't take action. And what successful people know is that that's going to happen. One time I spent $50,000 on a one-on-one session with a stage selling coach. And I was nervous. My brain said, why are you spending 50 grand? What are you doing? But then logically I was like, well, if I learn how to sell from stage and I get on the stage, I'm going to make a lot more than 50 grand. But my feeling was, this is a crazy amount of money. I did not get over that feeling. I recognized that feeling as my mind doing what it's intended to do. I waved at it, said, fuck you, and invested the money. Okay. I invested the money. And a month later, I did an event. I had 158 people on a Zoom. It wasn't even a live event. It was in the thick of COVID. I sold a $30,000 mastermind. I sold 34 copies and $1,020,000 in a single day. And so you could say, why on earth would you spend $50,000 to learn something from somebody? That's thinking like a minion. A millionaire says, oh, Dan, you turned 50 grand into 1,020,000. And how you think determines how you act, determines what you get. So that's my advice. So you're either going to think like a minion or a millionaire. You decide.
I love that.
Dan.
Love that, Dan. This has been so awesome. So many nuggets of wisdom there. Thank you so much.
With a big old grin. My jaw's aching from smiling so much. So I'm just like nodding inside. I'm like, this is so exciting for people to hear. So exciting for people to hear. Because we say stuff like this, like the mind keeps you safe. But having someone else on here with their different way of saying it, it just goes into people's psyche in a different way. So massive thanks to you, Dan. Like, we love what you do. You just keep on being you as you will, and keep on smashing it. It's just, really awesome to see and really inspiring for us to see. And I know everyone listening to this will be super inspired. And buy the damn course, get into the legacy.
In the show notes.
We'll put the link in the show notes, but honestly, we can't recommend Dan enough. He's just fab. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And don't forget, if you guys want to get into legacy through your amazing audience, amazing podcast, getclients.com/midlife. Let you guys in. Thank you guys so much. This was super fun.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
We'd love to hear from you. So drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under the Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.